goodness. You know what it reminded me of? When I walk outside and let the dogs, and all the birds are chippering and singing and making noises. It felt so joyous and loud. Good morning to all of you joining us in the chapel and on YouTube. We're especially glad for those who may be here for the first time and hope to see you again. If you are in the chapel, please remember to silence your cell phone because it will go off. Even though you say nobody will call you, you'd be surprised with the spams. I am the Reverend Suzie Matranga-Watson, and I will be the worship leader this morning. Our own Reverend Landerman Zucker will provide the sermon, Speaking Empathy in an American Babel. I almost said Babel. Babel. East Rose Fellowship sits on the occupied territory of the Clackamas Chinook people, who were forcefully displaced from this land to the Grand Ronde Reservation in 1855. We acknowledge the sacrifices endured by the ancestors of this land, and our own presence here today is only possible because of the injustices committed against them. We recognize the inherent sovereignty of the Chinook Nation and the Confederate tribes of Grand Ronde, who carry on the traditions, history, and legacy held by the ancestors from time immemorial to this day. We seek meaningful relationships with these communities that foster repair. Now, let us take a moment and greet each other today, both in the chapel and if you're on YouTube. So please turn around, wave at the clock, and the people on YouTube, welcoming them, and then you may turn to the people around you. And okay, after the service, everyone can talk, and when we have tea and coffee. For our online guests, if you'd like to share a joy or a sorrow during that portion of our service, you can do so by entering the YouTube chat, and those will be shared out loud with everyone. I also encourage you to identify yourself in the chat so we may have a better knowledge of your presence with us today. This is a responsive call to worship, and it will be I can't remember. Yellow is me. Yellow is me. Okay. As soon as there we go. And may I be no man's enemy, and may I be the friend of that which is eternal and abides.
May I wish for every person's happiness and envy none.
May I never rejoice in the ill fortune of one who has wronged me.
May I, to the extent of my power, give needful help to all who are in want.
May I never fail a friend.
May I respect myself.
May I always keep tame that which rages within me.
May I accustom myself to be gentle and never be angry with others because of circumstances.
May I know good people and follow in their footsteps. I see an Irish theme in the music. I'm wearing green for tomorrow. This is a reading from the Passover Haggadah. May the light we now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal and not to harm, to help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve you, Spirit of freedom.
Thank you, Suzie. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Wonderful to be in community with you this morning. If you're new, we especially welcome you to East Rose Fellowship UU and look forward to getting to know you. I have two poems for our opening words today. They're both about words, which will be a prevalent theme in the sermon and the rest of the service. The first one is called Words Are Dangerous by Gajanan Mishra. Words are dangerous. What is danger that is words? Tell not I am rich. Tell not I have a large family. Tell not I am in such and such a rank. Tell not I have given charity. Words are dangerous. If you are going to believe even your own words, you may be deluded by ignorance. Words may not be exact reflections of your pure heart. Believe not words. The other one is called Dangerous Words by Kendall Sears. Dangerous words are the ones that slip under our guard. They nestle next to us at night and whisper treacle sweet nothings that trickle and slide down canals to a dozing mind. Honeying their way, they want to ensure easy passage for the poison kept still at bay. Dangerous words, they tuck us in, they fluff our pillows and our egos till we give them freely those moments of sincerity. All those genuine smiles and hitched breaths, we suppose their value was in their exclusivity. Dangerous words. We break off these pieces of truth like our hearts, our homemade chocolate, and hand them over in pretty gift wrap. It's when these snakes have us so charmed and they are sated that they finally snap and spit. Their bites are full of venom, and we see their fangs too late. Our first hymn today is very familiar to many of us and usually considered one of the favorite hymns we sing. It's to the Finlandia theme. It's 159. We have two hymnals, a gray hymnal and a teal hymnal if you're new, but the words will also be on the screen. Please rise as you are able to sing This Is Our Song, number 159 in the gray hymnal.
This is my song, O God of all
come up for the time for all of you.
Good morning. Welcome. Today's story is called Come With Me. This book was written in response to some difficult things happening in the world. It's about a little girl who feels worried and unsure about what to do when she sees troubling news on TV. I think many of us, both grown-ups and kids, sometimes feel that way too. In the story, the little girl discovers something important. When we're scared, being kind to others helps us feel better. And here's another wonderful thing she learns. Our kind actions don't need to be big or fancy to make a real difference. Simple things like saying hello to someone, sharing a smile, inviting someone to play, or sharing what we have can bring hope when things seem dark. All of us, adults and children, can help make the world brighter through these everyday kindnesses. All of us acting together bring love into a world that often feels divided. When we reach out to others with friendship and care, we're standing up to fear and showing that love is stronger. Now, here is Come With Me, written by Holly McGee, with pictures by Pascal Lemaitre. All over the world, the news told and retold of anger and hatred, people against people, and the little girl was frightened by everything she heard and saw and felt. She asked her papa if there was something she could do to make the world a better place. Her papa said, "Come with me." Hand in hand, they walked out the door to the subway. Waiting there on the platform, her papa tipped his hat to those he met, so the little girl did too. They rode the train through the tunnels underground. The girl and her papa were brave and kind, and that day they won a tiny battle over fear for themselves and for the people of the world. The news kept telling of anger and hatred, and the little girl asked her mama what she could do to make the world a better place. Her mama said, "Come with me." They went to their grocery to buy some things for dinner. Because one person doesn't represent a family or a race or the people of a land. Her mama cooked, and the girl set the table piece by piece, as she'd always done. Plate in the middle, knife and spoon to the right, fork on the left, napkin by its side, water glass. The little girl sat with her mama and her papa, and they ate together. Her dog nuzzled her under the table. She scratched his head. "I want to do something of my own," she said. "Can I walk the dog?" Her parents looked at each other, and they looked at their child. They let her go and sent a message to the world. They would not live in fear. And when the little girl opened the door, the boy across the hall opened his door too. "Where are you going?" he asked. The little girl said, "Come with me," because two people together are stronger than one. The girl, the boy, and the dog were happy to be out. One step at a time, they understood what they could do to make the world a better place. They could go on, brave, gentle, strong, and kind to one another and all living things. As tiny as it was, their part mattered to the world. Your part matters too. Come with me. All of us have the power to make a difference through everyday kindness. Our actions, large and small, add up to make the world a better place. And now we'll leave Reverend Robin and the grown-ups to continue the conversation while we head back to RE. If the adults along the center aisle will form a bridge, and the children wait with me until the adults start singing, we'll sing the children out.
Behold you in our love as you go, as you go. May your heart be at peace as you go. To nurture the spark of your precious life. Behold you in our love as you go.
Now is the time in our service when we have some quiet, meditative time together. So I invite you to put your feet on the floor and uncross your arms, and if you're holding something that you can put down, to put it down, and to close your eyes and take a big breath in and a big breath out. Just a big inhale and exhale to start. Feel your face softening, your forehead, your shoulders, your jaw, all the places where you hold tension in your body. See if you can breathe some spaciousness and ease into those spaces. So often we don't remember to breathe, even though our breath is always at our disposal. Personal, portable first aid. Now begin some rhythmic breathing, some intentional breathing. 4 beats in slowly through your nose, 5 or 6 beats out slowly through your mouth, creating a rhythm, creating spaciousness. We'll just breathe together. While you breathe, I offer these words. May we raise children who love the unloved things, the dandelion, the worms, and the spiderlings. Children who sense the rose needs the thorn and run into rain-swept days the same way they run towards the sun. And when they're grown and someone has to speak for those who have no voice, may they draw upon that wilder bond, those days of tending tender things, and be the ones. Continue your breathing. Find the places that need spaciousness and ease. Breathe into those places. Slowly come out of your breathing and back into this space. Our next hymn is number 168 in our gray hymnal, but the words will also be on the screen, and we will remain seated. One more step.
Everyone, take one more.
The first reading is by Jeffrey McDaniel, Air Empathy. On the red eye from Seattle, a 2-year-old in the seat behind me screeches his miniature guts out. Instead of dreaming of stuffing a wad of duct tape in his mouth, I envy him. How he lets his pain spurt into the open. I wish I could drill a pipeline into the fields of ache. Tap a howl. How long would I need to sob before the lady beside me dropped her fashion bag and dipped a palm into the puddles of me? How many whimpers before another passenger joined in? Soon the stewardess hunched over the drink cart, the pilot gushing into the controls, the entire plane, an arrow of grief quivering through the sky. Our second reading is from Thomas Luck's Ode to the Unbroken World Which is Coming. It must be coming, mustn't it? Churches and saloons are filled with decent humans. A mother wants to feed her daughter. Fathers to buy their children things that they will break. People laugh all over the world. People laugh. We were born to laugh, and we know how it is to be sad. We dislike injustice and cancer and are not unaware of our terrible errors. A man wants to love his wife. His wife wants him to carry something. We're capable of empathy and intense moments of joy. Sure, some of us are vernal, but not most. There's always a punch bowl somewhere in which floats a life's a bullet, that fast and the sweeter for it. It's the same everywhere. Slovenia, India, Pakistan, Suriname. People like to pray, or they don't. They like to fill a blue plastic pool in the backyard with a hose and watch their children splash, or sit in cafes, or at a table with family. And if a long train of cattle cars passes along the West Ridge, it's only the cattle from the East Ridge going to the abattoir. The unbroken world is coming. It must be coming. I heard a choir. There were clouds. There was dust. I heard it in the streets. I heard it announced by the loud hailers mounted on trucks.
In the young adult novel entitled The List, a post-cataclysmic society called Ark is led by a fanatic named John Noah, who believes words are at the heart of the problem. After all, words can stretch the truth, they can bend, they can lie, just like the politicians did before what is known as the Great Melting. John Noah decrees that language is the enemy and language is to blame for society's destruction. An adolescent girl named Letta is apprenticed to Ark's wordsmith, Benjamin. This community is only allowed 500 words with simplistic definitions, which Benjamin and Letta are required to curate in keeping with John Noah's perspective. They, Letta and Benjamin, are allowed to speak a broader language, a bigger vocabulary, in order to communicate and do their work. Benjamin is saving words for a time when humankind can handle more, or so Letta believes. Here are some of the words that are permitted in Ark with their bare bones definitions. Speak, say permitted words. Danger, hurt can happen. Food, what we eat. Name, word to call person. Rebel, enemy of the new world. Artist, also enemy of the new world. Desecrator. Betray, work against Ark. Outcast, person who is not part of Ark. Forest, many trees. Some of the words that are banned in Ark: dream, hope, freedom, music, and faith. This prescient book, written by Patricia Forday and published in 2014, it may seem like a far-fetched dystopian fantasy were it not for the bold government control of language that's a dire present threat right here in America. What I'm about to share may actually sound like the plot of a book, like the list. On March 7th, the New York Times published an article called "These Words Are Disappearing in the New Trump Administration." It lists 171 words that are being scrubbed from public-facing government websites, or in some cases, managers are advised to use them with caution. These terms are being flagged in grant proposals and contracts. The Times found more than 250 pages on government websites that contained evidence of these deletions or contained replacement words. And I've asked John to make a slide for us, and we're going to go through the 4 pages. Here's page 1, here's page 2, here's page 3, page 4. You can find this list online. Thank you, John. Wow. I get that Trump wants to ban words or hamstring words and phrases like anti-racist or diversity or inclusive. One would expect to see intersectional or feminism or transgender or pronouns on the list of words that trigger him. That's his jam. Gulf of Mexico, that's on the list. One can only roll one's eyes, yet so horrifying and so petty. However, it is the words and phrases on this list, like belong and sense of belonging, that bewilder and sadden me. Are we now not meant to belong to our country, to our families, our affinity groups, our communities of faith? If we don't belong, we are owned, and that cannot happen. Trump publicly claims to be a champion of the First Amendment. It's almost hard to say those words out loud. Yes, folks, irony and manipulation are not dead. Because for him, that means free speech. Only if you agree with him, flatter him, scheme with him, disparage with him, or express yourself in a manner that advances his preferred narrative. And that's authoritarianism, not democracy. Just this past week, among many other examples, the South African ambassador was banned from visiting America because in Marco Rubio's words, he doesn't like the president. You can't make this stuff up. Protesters on college campuses are being jailed and threatened with deportation. Republican town halls where veterans are removed for expressing their anger. Climate scientists subjected to prosecution because they've accepted federal funds for their research. Trump is intent on stifling the national conversation about just about everything. There are millions of Americans who are not okay with these actions. This past weekend, thousands marched in cities throughout America in protest. And yet, on social media, there are thousands cheering on these actions from the bleachers. They love words like libtards, elites, and wokies. They apply smile emojis to posts about other people's suffering. It's alarming and painful. If we look to the Old Testament story of the Tower of Babel that's referenced in my title, we find a fitting metaphor for the ideological hellscape we're in right now. In this well-known tale from Genesis, Yahweh, God, observes a civilization which speaks a single language, enabling them to work together to build a tower. He begins to worry that this commonality might unite them with too much power against him, so he fractures their language in order to weaken them. They can no longer communicate. Here, in America today, we're speaking vastly different languages of values and meaning, sending us tumbling off a contemporary Tower of Babel. And quite intentionally, I'd reckon, John Noah, the authoritarian leader in the list, he lives in a tower too, his own perverse Tower of Babel. You may recall the dust-up involving the Right Reverend Marian Buddy and her plea for mercy during her sermon after the inauguration. Trump wanted an apology. Good grief. More significantly, evangelical Christian pastors accused her of the sin of empathy. Just the very idea that empathy could be considered a sin is breathtaking. After Buddy's sermon, Ben Garrett, a deacon at an evangelical church in Utah, posted this message on X, formerly Twitter, accompanied by a photo of the Reverend Buddy. This snake is God's enemy and yours. She hates God and his people. You need to properly hate in response. She is a deceiver. Your eyes shall not pity. Do not commit the sin of empathy. This twisted ideology that has taken hold in some evangelical circles conflates empathy with what they're calling the coddling culture of over-sympathizing with victims of abuse, oppression, or suffering. In essence, caring about their pain. I'd say Trump and his men belong to this congregation of callousness. One has to question what Jesus these folks are emulating or claiming to worship. Surely not the olive-skinned Semitic one who healed the sick, bound up the broken, welcomed the stranger, or fed the hungry. As it states in Ephesians chapter 5, verse 2, as Jesus loved you, walk continually in love. That is, value one another, practice empathy and compassion, unselfishly seeking the best in other people. But that is not the Jesus we have headlining the sin of empathy. Rather, it's what's known as the straight white American Jesus of Christian nationalists, the one who sees Trump as a commander for their holy war, the one who Mike Johnson and Samuel Alito believe should sit atop the 7 mountains and rule American life. Many progressive Christian congregations have wonderfully responded to this with their own message. If empathy is a sin, sin boldly. Do we have that slide? John, do we have that slide? Oh, okay. It's a wayside pulpit from a church that says that. And it makes me yearn for an old-fashioned wayside pulpit we could put out with a message like that. Earlier in our service, I lifted up the poem by Kendall Sears called Dangerous Words. She writes, dangerous words are the ones that slip under our guard. They nestle next to us at night and whisper treacle sweet nothings that trickle and slide down canals to a dozing mind honeying their way. It's when these snakes have us so charmed and they are sated that they finally snap and spit. Their bites are full of venom and we see their fangs too late. Yes, words can be dangerous, but words are always powerful. How did the word empathy become such a hot button in our culture? We can trace that to Trump himself and his offensive, coarse, holds no bars rants on social media and rallies. If this is how our cult leader expresses himself, it must be okay, right? He hates who we hate, let it rip. It seeps into his policies, which embody no empathy for marginalized or disenfranchised people or communities, and surely in that gobsmacking list of banned words. It's on full display in his transactional pay-for-play grifting and glad-handing. It permeates the magical thinking and conspiracy-plagued rantings of MAGA adherents who actively resist knowledge. Aristotle, he said a lot of wise things, and he wisely observed that just as we can develop a love of truth that stirs us within, so we can develop a hatred of truth that fills us with a passionate sense of purpose. I wonder if QAnon read Aristotle. And it is embedded in Elon Musk's recent sociopathic public statement that, quote, the fundamental weakness of Western civilization is empathy, the empathy exploit. He claims that shadowy players are exploiting a bug in Western civilization, which is the empathy response. Empathy, he says, has been weaponized. Think about that. A valuable side note, historical side note here, is what G.M. Gilbert, the psychologist who interviewed all the Nazis on trial at Nuremberg, concluded. He said, I told you once I was searching for the nature of evil. I think I've come close to defining it as a lack of empathy. It's the one characteristic that connects all of these defendants, a genuine incapacity to feel with their fellow man. Evil, I think, is the absence of empathy. These battles over words like empathy, I'd say they start with language and they end in shackles, blood, isolation, and division. In his article for The Atlantic, the journalist Zochtil Gonzalez asks, what happened to empathy? He claims we've become somewhat inured to human suffering. Some call this empathy fatigue. For others, they just don't give a fig anymore. Life is tough. It's a dog-eat-dog world, every person for themselves. I've got my own grievances, thank you. Gonzalez recalls the outpouring of genuine empathy after 9/11 when he was a 24-year-old newly settled into life in New York City. He says the victims felt knowable, and he recalls mourning people who were strangers and yet not strangers at all. And then 20 years later, COVID, and this time he says there was no real attempt at a moment of national mourning for the more than 7 million lives that had been lost worldwide. Gonzalez concludes that it's hard not to see the social shift and collective reduction in empathy. He points out astutely that empathy is cultivated through interactions with people we don't know well, those glimpses into other worlds. We've systematically reduced the need or desire to either casually or meaningfully engage with the other. On top of that, research shows that excessive use of social media reduces empathy and increases narcissism. Depression has been linked to the use of dating apps and binging TV shows alone. We barely blink at another mass shooting or overdose. He calls us Americans a people made miserable. How sad is that? A people made miserable. Now, a well-worn adage, which I'm guessing we've all used, is that empathy is walking a mile in someone else's shoes, right? We've all heard it. We've probably all said it. But a colleague of mine once remarked that in this paradigm, you'd end up a mile away and with the other person's shoes. I never thought of it that way. So she tweaked the adage a bit to suggest that empathy is walking alongside the other in your own shoes, without the need to or desire to fix or judge or compare that person's experience or pain to your own or someone else's. You can't wear someone else's shoes, but you can understand where they go, where they can go, where they cannot go, where they wish to go, and walk with them. Genuinely listening to other people's stories can activate our empathy and our compassionate action. When you're deeply listened to and held in loving and accepting presence, it changes the air in the room. I think we experience that in our joys and sorrows every week. During my time in Flagstaff, Arizona, I attended an online seminar called Empathy, Exhaustion, and Social Change, co-sponsored by the Arizona Faith Network and Arizona State University. Chillingly, the kind of gathering that might get a professor fired or a UU minister locked up these days. At its conclusion, we all took something called the Humanity 101 Pledge, to live with compassion, empathy, forgiveness, integrity, kindness, respect, and self-reflection. We acknowledge that empathy without social justice is shallow, and social justice without empathy is inert and doesn't center the experience of others. We were advised, and I advise you now, rest for resistance. Don't allow yourself to get burned out from expending empathy and effort for social change. Expend it and then recharge and rest for resistance. Because we need you strong in the heart, in your head, and in your marching boots. You may be wondering what happened to our heroine, Letta, in the list. Well, she is caught in the moral and intellectual dilemma of whether to obey John Noah and further shorten the list of words that can be spoken in Ark. Then she meets a teenage boy from a neighboring community of freethinkers and artists who somehow knows all the words that have been banned. She's faced with a pivotal and dangerous choice. Sit idly by and watch language slowly slip away, or follow a stranger on a path to freedom. Letta chooses to fight for the very thing that keeps us human, language and words like empathy. And we must join her in that fight, speaking truth to power before we too tumble from this harrowing tower of American Babel. So may we rise to help create an unbroken world. Blessed be, blessed we, and amen. Our final hymn is number 121 in the gray hymnal, We'll Build a Land. Please rise as you are able.
Hi, I'm Karen, and I've been working with NAIA to create some projects in their community. NAIA, Native American Youth and Family Center. Anyway, they are sharing the Bounty Partner through the end of August this year. We're in the middle of March, so let's get active in their community. That's what I'm going to say today. Here's a couple ways you can do that. You can become a member of a younger child in their studies. Math is most needed, so you can make their school easier. You could also mentor an older child who is looking for support with college and career planning. This is kind of meaningful for me, because when I was a senior in high school, my English teacher, Mr. Robinson, asked me what my plan was. And of course, I didn't have one. So he said, you know, you might want to take that SAT test. And I said, No test, thanks. But he kept after me, and I took the test. And it made it a lot easier once I decided to go to college. I got in easily. So you could be that Mr. Robinson for a kid. If you're the gardener type, they have community gardens that can pitch in to help with, or a tiny forest project we're putting together. So the way you do it is there's a volunteer application process. They do a little background check, you indicate what you're interested in, and so I can give you information about getting that started. So let's get out there and spread our UU brand of love out there.
Thanks, Karen. Thank you. As Karen said, each week we take an offering to support this church and to share with a community nonprofit. Through August, half our offering will go to Naya. If you are attending online, you may donate by visiting our website and clicking on the donate button, or you may scan the QR code on the screen. If you are here for the first time, we invite you to let the basket pass and truly be our guest. The gifts of the congregation now will most gratefully be received. And we will sing our song of gratitude. It's 10:10 in the teal hymnal. We give thanks, and the words are on the screen. Words for extinguishing the chalice are by Elizabeth Seal Jones. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the flame of commitment. Those we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Before we end with our benediction, the volunteer fair is still going on. You can find the clipboards in the Thatcher room. I hope you will look at them and sign up for some committees and teams. The more involved you are, the more sense of belonging you do have here, and the more we can get to know you. Also, we are having spiritual conversations today, so if you want to grab coffee and come back and talk about the service, please do. We'll be meeting right here. And it's Stewardship Month. If you received a packet, please return your form. If you didn't receive a packet, there are some in the narthex. And I want to thank Mary for her beautiful music, and I want to thank Suzie for her wonderful leadership, and John also for his AV work. Thank you all. So please join me now in the unison benediction. Go out into the world in peace.
Have courage. Hold on to what is good. Return to no person evil for evil. Strengthen the faint-hearted. Support the weak. Help the suffering. Honor all beings.
May you go out in joy and return in love. Thank you.